Welcome. I'm Cheryl Mitchell, the president of Tree 11, which is a retreat and learning program here in Addison County. And one of our greatest joys has been partnering with Building Bright Futures and Let's Grow Kids to support information about the early learning opportunities available in our county. So it is my thrill today to be able to talk with the people who are the founders and the current operators of Addison County Readers, and they will also be telling you about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. So first, let me introduce our guests. This is Mary Dodge, and I'll be turning to her shortly. She does a lot of the operational work, and she'll tell you about the books. Dinah Bain, who is one of the co-founders of Addison County Readers. He'll tell you an overview about the program and how it works. And Lisa Warrenzoff, who is a parent who's been involved, and you'll have a chance to hear what it really means to a family. So thank you all three so much for coming. We're delighted you're here. And thank you for bringing the props. For those of you that can't see everything, when we get to the end, there'll be links to all the information that they're sharing. So don't worry about that. So Dana, maybe we could start with you, and you could tell us about Addison County Readers. Okay. How did the idea come, and how did you get started, and what are you trying to do?
Okay. The idea came because Ilsley Libraries decided they put notice in the paper that they were going to start sponsoring the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library program. And I looked at it and I said, that's not acceptable. It has to be for the whole county. So it took me 4 months to find other people and to find somebody to be our fiscal agent. United Way is our fiscal agent, so donations are tax deductible. And we actually have been responsible for shipping the books from the very beginning. The Dolly Parton's Imagination Library program is free books home, mailed from Tennessee, so Dollywood Foundation sends them. To any registered child. It's open to any child under 5 in Addison County. We have 16 of the 23 town. We have kids in every town, and we have support from tax money from 16 of the 23 towns.
That's amazing. When did you said 4 years ago? No, how
2007.
long ago? 2007.
2008 is when we first started shipping books, in January of 2008.
And tell me about you. Were you a teacher, a mother?
No.
Why was this interesting to you?
I'm a computer programmer, and I moved here, and it was like, I don't know, a year and a half after we moved here, and Ilsley, put it in the paper, and I said, it's got to be more than that. It's not, this is much too important for all our kids to be just restricted. One of the things about the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library program is that it cannot be restricted. It can be by zip code or school district, and those are the only things you are allowed to restrict. So you can't do by income or location other than zip code or anything like that. So it's open to any child, and the books come home to the kids, and we have pictures of kids running to the mailboxes, and we have stories. I'm sure Lisa can verify that that's the best part, almost. The books are great, but having something come in the mail is the really exciting thing.
Yeah.
But Dolly Parton subsidizes and Dollywood, we can't distinguish between the two, subsidizes it heavily. It costs us, it's free to the families, but it costs us almost $30 a year per child.
Per child.
But that's for 12 books.
Wow.
Which is $250 a month. You can barely mail the books for that.
Yeah.
I mean, and these books are various books. This is one, The Snowy Day, which most people probably remember from their kids' childhood or maybe their own childhood. But the books, that book is now in Spanish and English at the same time. But also, in the beginning of the book, it talks about the program. I know. About the program, and at the end of the book, it talks about how to read the book with your child. So if there's an illustrator or anything like that. Because we're a nonprofit, we look for donations. We have the local civic organizations are supporting us, the towns are supporting us, and we look for grants.
Right.
So,
Well-
Mary, do you want to talk about books?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
I want to just interject two things for a second. One, on a personal note, my daughter's a musician, and she got to open a show for Dolly Parton once. She said she was
Ooh.
kind
Oh
of
my gosh.
amazing. But also, a lot of my background was doing the research about what really helps kids to succeed in school, and this issue of the vast difference between children whose parents read to them and have access to books compared to kids who really haven't had a chance to hold and learn from books until they get to school is so huge. So I'm thrilled that you all are doing this.
I have an anecdote. We go to events in the community trying to register kids, and we also sell used books 3 for $1 to get them back out into the community. And I usually accost people and say, "Is your kid signed up?" And this one that I accosted said, "Yes, we're signed up." And the book came yesterday. I had to read the book 4 times before we could leave the house this morning.
Love it. So,
Yeah,
Mary, maybe you'll tell us. I know that you're a teacher, a retired teacher.
Yes, I am.
Can
yeah.
you tell us a little bit more about how you got involved with
How I
doing
got
this?
involved. You know, it's one of those phone calls from friends kind of thing. Someone mentioned that you have a little more time now, and would you be interested in this organization? And one of the things I loved as a kindergarten teacher was the literacy aspects, reading books. We had that was just a part of who we were and what we did every day. And so I just said sure, and I came to a meeting that was probably in 2008. I don't think it was long after you guys gotten started, and it seemed like a good organization. But what really got me excited, Cheryl, was when I saw the bibliography of the actual books that were being mailed out, and I recognized some of my favorites that I used in the classroom, and I said, okay, a good book is a good book, but great books are great books. And all of a sudden, you know, it just made so much more sense, and I've gotten deeply involved, and yeah, have been with it for several years, and enjoy seeing what Dolly comes out with too,
so
and
can
how
you maybe
Sure.
walk us through?
Yeah, I'd
Because
love to.
they're my kids' favorite books. Some of them, and then of course some that I didn't have access
Right,
to when
right,
my
and
kids were young.
I think Lisa's going to speak to that too in terms of some books that have come her way. Dollywood Foundation does develop the bibliography, and it's 60 books, 12 for each age group. So children in their first year of life get some books from the first grouping. So there's 6 different groupings actually. So the very first book any child gets is this one, because it's Dolly's favorite, but it's not necessarily what an infant would chew on, although hopefully it won't last that long. It won't be that long before they aren't involved in it. Dolly's sort of the little engine that could, and I think that really fits. So the first set of books for their children, let's say who are in their first year of life and are often board books. They're simple pictures, big drawings, minimal text, and they're chewable. I think that's the one thing that parents really love, is that you can really do some things with it, and still it's going to be there to look at again. And here, I didn't know this, but in the front of this one, there's actually some nice reading tips. I hadn't looked at that before. So.
Not all of them do.
Yeah.
The other thing to remember is that we talk about the bibliography being for the first year and the second year, but it's more specific than that. The first year the first month, the second month, the third month, all get the same book. So that if you're 2 years and 3 months, you're going to get book whatever, but all kids will get the same book at the same age.
Right. Yeah. Here's the kind of book that's being sent out for children in their first year of life: repetition, predictability, children doing familiar things, colors, letters, or numbers. And again, that's a word book. And of course, there's corduroy. We know corduroy very well. Dinah held up this book. This is for children in their, I guess we're skipping there. I missed a bit. But this is for children born in 2014. So I think this would be the 4-year-old group or 3.5. Anyway, what I love about this one is it's bilingual. And in each of the categories, they now have some bilingual books, and It's wonderful to be able to read along the print side by side right there on the page.
And all kids get this bilingual book. It's not just for Spanish-speaking children.
Exactly.
There's no,
Right. No distinction.
distinction. And actually, some of the books are Spanish only, which is even more interesting.
So those there's more diversity, more complex plot, and of course there's a good deal of humor in this book, and as are many of the titles. Here's another one that comes in for children in their 4th year, Lion Lessons, so you can see it's funny, playful, but there's also probably some issues there that are being talked about, and here's another one that's called is bilingual in terms of I Love a Pickle. I haven't read that one, so I can't recommend it. But
Have you read this one
I
yet?
read that one.
Okay,
We
so
love that one.
you love
currently.
this one.
That's our current favorite.
And then for the oldest children, we're getting into some things that not only are complex, but also a lot of content, some nonfiction science books. This has been a favorite of some families I know, and it kind of grows. Your understanding the book grows with your own knowledge and growth yourself. So that's a quick run through of the actual books. The one other thing that Dinah mentioned is that when we get into the 2nd, 3rd years, there are some tips for parents about how to maybe start out that book. I think they're nice. I think they're open-ended. I don't think they restrict you, but they're good. The titles change each year. About a quarter of the titles are new titles that weren't on the previous book list. And so some shift off and some are new. That's one area that sometimes parents, if they have children very close together, let's say within a year's age, they're going to be getting duplicates, and that's sometimes a concern. Dollywood Foundation is encouraging parents to think about having your own bibliography, and so it's okay to have two. I also think sometimes it's okay to have two because you can be sitting there with your sibling chatting away thinking about the book itself. So that's a quick run through. Lisa, maybe you, I don't know.
Well, just let me ask you one
Okay.
question. So if you have 2 kids, you can sign up both kids? It's not, they don't expect you to recycle these books for your second
It depends
or 3rd
on
child?
the program.
Yeah.
For instance, the state of Michigan, and I don't know if North Carolina is doing it. The state of Michigan will only let 1 child per family be registered.
But Vermont is,
But in
or
Vermont,
Addison
it's
County is
Addison-
cool.
Yeah, we're the ones who control it, and we don't have any problem with it at all.
Fantastic, right. So, Lisa, how did you find out about it, and what's it been like for your family?
So I was 7 months pregnant, and I was looking for books at the Cornwall Public Library, and I saw the brochure there, and I picked it up because I saw the green sticker that said free books for children, and I honestly thought it was too good to be true. But I thought I'll sign up anyway, and I had my baby, and 3 weeks later her first book arrived. And so at 4 weeks I was sitting with her with a pillow on my lap. She was dozing off, but I was reading the Little Engine That Could to her. And so that's how it started. And every month since then, a book has arrived. And like you said, that is what she looks forward to. She knows.
So she's old enough now to know.
Yeah, so
that-
she's 3 now. And so she's been, she has 30 some books. And she knows that these books arrive for her and that this is part of her experience. And that's part of one of the things I think is so valuable about this program. It helps my daughter, who's still a toddler, create her own experience around literacy that's reflective of her identity. So unlike library books or books that other people give her as presents, she can chew these up, she destroys them, she folds the pages over, and it really just sort of helps her have a full sensory experience with reading without any restrictions. So I'll show you this one example that you can see there's pages folded. We've duct taped pages back together. There's one corner that's definitely been chewed off. This book is such a favorite.
a well-loved,
well-loved
book here,
book.
huh?
But at the tender age of maybe like 18 months, she started demonstrating awareness to numbers, and it was because of this book. Same for colors. And so where I thought she was just a passive listener, she was really sort of engaging in developing this learning around numbers and colors that she still maintains today. And same with I Hear a Pickle. The reason it's our favorite right now, because it's reflecting her environment. So she's demonstrating matching skills with the concrete, what she sees in her life, with the book. So if we see a piece of toast, for example, she'll run and get the book, find the page, and find the example. So I see it growing her skills, growing her knowledge, but just demonstrating her awareness of herself and her environment almost every day. And for my partner and I, the reason we like it, because it sort of expands our lens in what we're providing our daughter. So Little Excavator, for example, is her second favorite book. And I would have never picked that out at the bookstore for her at the library. I guess based on sort of entrenched gender norms, I thought my daughter would not be interested in construction equipment. She loves it. And now whenever we walk around in town, she can identify the construction equipment. She sees Little Excavators, she points them out. And it's another sort of learning modality that I never thought she would necessarily need to develop, but she has, all thanks to these books.
That's so amazing. So I'd love to pick up on what you said about her being able to basically have that these are her books. They come in the mail to her. She can do what she wants, and it sounds like gradually as she's learning to manipulate them, she's developing the kind of respect that maybe we started out by telling kids, don't touch it,
Right.
don't wreck it, don't rip, you know. I'm just curious about how you as a parent were able to resist saying, don't bend the page.
I didn't. I didn't. Because I did grow up. I remember a teacher sitting down with me and telling me very carefully how to turn the page. We had to wash our hands, where to hold in the corner. And I tried that with her, but it was completely ineffective. So at one point, I just watched her sitting on the floor, folding the paper, reading through, flipping the pages herself. And that was the first time I noticed that she could turn the pages. And I thought, why am I restricting her? Let her experience this. And she has learned how to be careful because she realizes now she rips the page, it's not there anymore. And there's just so much packing tape we can use to fix it. And so she's learning how to take care of the books much more carefully now, based on her experience, really sort of exploring them on her own.
Lisa, we had another parent say almost the same thing with this added edge. And she said that she so appreciated the Imagination Library because going to the library, you really can't allow that kind of damage to happen. But since they were financially constrained in what they could do, the possibility of having her own book, then she could go through that learning experience. And so she felt like the Imagination Library was just a wonderful help in the situation where financially she couldn't have afforded to provide it.
Right, and that's our experience as well. My partner stays at home, so there's only one income, so our income is very limited. And I would love to spend all our money on books for everyone, but I can't. So this just sort of gives us an extra bonus to helping our daughter learn literacy, learn developmental skills in a way that is so positive and rewarding for all of us. And it also helps her understand that it's not only our family who values literacy, but as the Addison County Readers represents, it's also a community initiative. And as the Dolly Parton Imagination Library represents, and she doesn't realize yet, it's also a global initiative to value literacy, which is so important.
So cool. I would love to explore a little bit. You have something else that you'd like to
go
share?
ahead.
Well, just the relationship with the libraries. I was on the board of our small town library when this started, and I'm wondering how you maintain those relationships with all of the libraries in the county.
It's hard to do because we're a limited board and it's all volunteer. But we try, Mary goes out more than I do, but we try to keep all of the libraries abreast of how many books we send each month. In fact, we are right around 1,100 books every month. It's plus or minus a little bit because the kids are eligible for books until the month that they have their 5th birthday, and then they drop off. So you have to keep replacing them. And so we keep recruiting, and one of the ways that we recruit is Mary wants to talk about.
Yeah, I will. In terms of recruitment, the libraries are a good source of children for us. We just completed a 2019 survey of parents, and one of the questions we asked is, how did you hear about the program? And the library was 17% of the parents said that was their source. And I think libraries are generally supportive of us.
What were the other sources?
Okay, so then family or friends, about a quarter of the people had family or friends that said, oh, this is a good program, you want to do it. Another 20-some percent saw, here, this one. This is one of our common display items. We also have some others here. Got information at their dental office or their child care center, or that kind of thing. So, but the biggest source, and which is what Dinah and I are sort of looking at, is our comes at the birthing center. About a third of our children enroll at birth before they leave.
You found this before you were even
Before, yeah. And then, but I
delivered.
it was available. I just never really noticed it.
Yeah.
And then I was just sitting at the library and I noticed it, and then I saw the flyers almost everywhere afterwards, including at the hospital and birthing center. And I think one of my nurses asked if I was connected, and I already was.
Yeah. So, so we are trying. Dinah says we have 1,100 children. We do. We think this is about 2/3 to 3/4 of the target population, but we really would love to have every child in the county partake of the program if that were possible. And one of the ways is we reach out is through the birthing center nurses. They collaborate with us by giving out to parents of newborns before the parents and the child leaves the hospital a book from our Books at Birth program. And so it's a simple beginning book and a welcome letter and a brochure, which is very easy to fill out, or you can do it online, but it's just a simple little quarter kind part of the third, I guess, part of the brochure, and sometimes the nurses even say, "Can I hold the baby while you fill this out? Here's a pencil." We get a lot of wonderful support from them. But this makes it possible for children to go, have books read to them from the very first day, because if you sign up, it does take at least a month, if not a little longer, to get it into the system, get it to Tennessee, get Tennessee to send us a bill, for us to pay the bill, they to print the book and send it out to you. So this is the, you might say, the beginning.
Can I flash that for our viewers here? So you could get this and take it home with your baby when you
Right.
leave,
It's for
in
you.
your infant seat.
Yeah,
Yeah. The disadvantage is, of course, that not everybody that comes to Porter Hospital lives in Addison County.
Oh, right. So
So
that's your next expansion will be to upstate New York.
well, upstate New York, actually, Ticonderoga and Chittenden and Clinton and I don't remember what. There are 2 counties over there that do have the program.
Oh, that's great.
So parents from there can be. But if you live in Castleton or Rutland County, there isn't a program.
Oh, so
There are only 3 in Vermont.
because Darla Senecal is our Building Bright Futures person for both counties, for Addison and Rutland County, maybe, who knows, it will
Well, we've been
expand into
trying,
love it.
we've talked to
Yeah.
several people about expanding, but they haven't been successful. I think primarily because they haven't been able to work out where they can get the money.
Yeah,
It's
and
not a
it's-
lot of money, but you have to keep raising it.
Right. But when you think about children
Oh, the
getting
value.
a book a month for 5 years, and that it's going to change. I mean, I'm so impressed by the quality of the books. That these are not, the warehouse books that are sitting around because
Oh.
nobody wanted
Oh.
them. These really look like they're
They're
cream of the
specially
crop.
printed
There's-
for Dollywood.
Yeah.
Because they all have
The
have
information back.
Well, they have the
Yeah.
logo, so they're printed by Putnam. All right, who are they? printed
Penguin,
by?
I think.
Penguin. Yeah. So
Yes.
I'm curious. Do the 3 of you or anyone else on your board, do you have input to new titles that you want to suggest, or that's pretty much the foundation does that?
The foundation
Okay.
does that.
They have
We-
a committee of nationally recognized people educators, but we don't have any input into that, unfortunately.
So we're going to run out of time. I'm sorry. We've just got a few minutes left, and I'm wondering if there are things that you feel are pressingly important for parents to know about getting signed up for this. Do you want to put in a plug?
Yeah, I can't recommend this program more. It's been only positive for my daughter and my family. The books are exceptional, and I just look forward to the last 2 years with a heavy heart because I know it's ending. But it would be a great 5 years with these wonderful books. I would recommend signing up immediately if you haven't done so already.
Lisa, there is a solution where you can keep getting books.
I know, Mary. I'm not sure about that, though.
We'll talk about that on another show.
I would just say that as a volunteer organization, we are always welcoming volunteers to help us. We're always eager to hear about, to receive contributions. A third of our funding comes from the towns, but that leaves 2/3 for us to pick up. And so we do accept donations from individuals. We do write grants. We do get donations from businesses and service organizations. But money is always a question, and I think for any organization that's completely volunteer run, which is what we are, it's just... that would be one thing I would encourage people to go on the website, look through it. You'll get some history about it. You'll be able to look at the bibliographies of the books, and maybe you'll see where you might fit in.
Great.
In helping this program to continue and survive and thrive.
Well, we also, because we try to sell books back into the community, we are always looking for used children's books.
Oh, okay. And where
So
would people send used children's books?
They can go on the website and get in touch with one of us, or Ilsley will take them, or any library will take them.
Great.
But we always need donations, always.
Of books as
Especially
well.
picture books.
Okay. And not too badly chewed, right?
Oh,
They do have to be in good condition.
Okay.
If you wouldn't buy them, then don't give them to us, please.
but if you take them to the library, designate it.
Designate them for
Designate
Addison
them
County
for Addison
readers,
County readers.
ACR.
Cool. Okay. Well, I so much appreciate Lisa and Dinah and Mary, the
Thank
three of
you,
you,
Cheryl.
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you.
For those of you that are watching, the website and the contact information will come up in just a second. And I also wanted to take a moment just to thank Middlebury Community Television. They are an amazing resource in our community. They really help get the word out to people about any endeavors that nonprofits are involved in, educational programs. So if you're interested, you don't need to know anything about TV. I didn't know anything about TV, and James and Kurt will help make things work for you. And if you have ideas about other things that you would like to see happening for families with young children in our community, Darla Senecal, who's at Building Bright Futures, is a great contact person. So again, thank you all
you.
very much.
Thank
and
you.
Thank
thank
you.
you all for watching.